My day to day, how's it going? It's going all right. It's going all right. I
Yeah.
would say it's been quite a hectic week.
Okay.
Um, and this is probably the calmest day, but that's because I've tried to clear my schedule a little bit. I like to
Okay.
have a buffer in the week, and
Yeah.
usually Wednesdays are the buffer day.
Ah,
Have a bit of a
okay.
break.
Because normally the weekend is the buffer time for many people. How I does that mean that your weekends are really busy?
Last weekend was
Okay.
normally they're not busy, but I'm quite busy. Like I have quite a few projects going on. And
Okay.
of course, naturally, in typical Emma fashion,
Yeah.
all the projects are happening at once this
Okay.
month. So yeah, I'm putting in some extra hours over the weekend to try and get these projects out a bit faster.
Okay.
Otherwise, yeah, I'm not going to get them done. I also have construction going on next door.
Ah,
So
okay.
if I need to do any filming,
Yeah.
which is important for these projects, I need to
Yeah.
do filming for these projects.
Yeah.
I can't film. It's just too noisy. Luckily, they stopped. I think they're having a very late lunch break.
Okay. I think maybe you could
But
like just show them the silver play button and just say,
oh yeah,
would
of
you mind
course.
would you mind
Of
holding the
course.
construction for like 10 minutes?
Like, don't you realize you're disrupting all these people?
Yeah, exactly.
I
But
don't think they'll
yeah.
care.
Is
Actually,
it
some people have complained and they're
right?
like, we're working. We don't complain when you're working.
Okay. Now, I've had a look at your channel, um, and it seems that you have relocated or have you been there for a while in Spain?
Yeah, so nearly 3 years ago now,
Okay. Wow.
I moved from Bristol, which
Yeah.
is a city in England, close to Wales, and I moved to Barcelona. It was
Wow.
always the plan, always the
Okay.
dream, and now I'm here. Been here for nearly 3 years.
Wow. Okay. So have you settled in? Are you like a local, like a native now?
Like a native, yeah, because I look Spanish, right? Like I blend right in. Yeah, yeah. I mean, my boyfriend is from here,
Yeah.
so for me, like we've been together for over 10 years.
Mm.
So moving to Spain, it wasn't something new. It was something like we always came here like twice
Yeah.
a year. I used to live in Tarragona, which is like an hour and a half away from Barcelona. So it wasn't my first time living in Spain, but yeah, it's definitely a different experience to what I had when I was studying
Okay.
in Tarragona because I couldn't
Okay.
really speak Spanish. It was my first time abroad
Yeah.
ever,
Yeah.
and I felt very out of place. But now I speak Spanish. I understand Catalan. I
Wow.
blend in. I can have a chat with my neighbors, and yeah,
Wonderful.
it's
And the football,
nice.
have you chosen a team?
Well, I'm not really that interested in football, I'll
Yeah.
be honest,
Yeah.
and neither's my boyfriend.
Okay.
So luckily
Yeah.
I don't have to deal with that.
Yeah.
But yeah, depending on where I am, I will say Barcelona or Madrid.
Yeah.
Because if you say that you're a Madrid fan in Barcelona, like
Yeah.
you could run into some trouble.
Definitely. I think that's a good time to say sorry, no English. If they or
Yeah,
no Spanish if they ask you to
no
choose.
Spanish, no
Yeah.
English. Yeah,
Conveniently. Okay. Yeah.
yeah,
I've
yeah.
been to Spain. The stereotypical thing of going to Tenerife,
Yeah,
if you
very
can.
classic British
Yeah.
holiday
But
destination.
yeah. So you see all of these deals, but I don't think they're as good as they used to be in the past.
Mm.
But yeah, that's lovely. Perfect.
Tenerife is very nice as well.
Yes.
Have you only been to the southern part of
Yes.
Tenerife?
Yeah.
Because that's very touristic. If you go
Yeah.
to the northern part of the island, I mean, I'm
Right.
talking about the main island.
Yes.
If you go to
Okay.
the northern part, it's very Spanish,
Okay.
completely different vibe.
Yeah.
Yeah, completely different.
Okay. Perfect. And also, I love the food as well. I think that's
What's your favorite?
paella, of course. But
Of course.
yeah. any type of paella. I'm an easy man to please.
Yeah.
So I love rice and all the seafood, and I think
Yeah.
that's a major part. I think if you're moving to a country and you don't really like the food, I don't think that's a good
Mhm.
thing. Okay,
Yeah, it definitely causes some problems, that's for sure. Interestingly, paella comes from Valencia.
okay.
Um, and yeah, I don't get to eat it as often as I would like to.
Wow. Okay.
But yeah, I love it as well. They
Yeah.
have something called arroz negra, which
Okay.
literally translates to black rice here in
Okay.
Catalonia.
Yeah.
And it's like, you said you like seafood and you like
Yes.
paella, as we say in
Yes.
English. People, Spanish people will be like, it's paella.
Ah, okay.
The Yeah, I've been through the whole discussion with Spanish people telling me off for how I say paella.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, if you like seafood and you like paella,
Mm.
then you should try black rice. And it leaves your
Okay.
teeth all black because it's made
Really?
with squid ink. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. It's really good. I don't have it anymore because I'm veggie, but I remember I
Ah,
used to
okay.
really like it. And I would get like a black stain
Yeah.
on my
Okay.
mouth.
And is there anything that you miss from back home if it's something that you used to buy from the shop that you can't buy now?
Oh, for sure. Just specifically food, you mean?
Anything really?
Anything at all?
Yeah.
Hi. That I would say one of the things I really miss is like English sweets and
Mm,
English chocolate and things like that. And my
okay.
boyfriend always complains and he's like, but English chocolate's full of rubbish. It's just sugar. It's like, yeah, but that's the good stuff.
Yeah.
That's where all the delicious goodness is. It's all
Yeah.
in the sugar.
Yeah.
So I really miss, yeah, English sweets. I have tea here. I can buy like Yorkshire tea,
Nice.
and things like that here. So that's not a big deal.
Okay.
I do miss though, as I'm actually going to Cambridge next week, and
Okay.
two things I was looking, and I'm only there for 24 hours. Like it's a
Wow.
very quick, like in and out. Like it's a very quick like event that's going on.
Okay.
And I was looking up places to get a full English breakfast in
Right.
Cambridge and a roast dinner
Okay.
in Cambridge. And I was thinking, can I handle two really big meals like that in one day? I don't think I can.
Well, it depends on what
Um,
time you're getting there. Maybe you could have one for more breakfast,
yeah,
or maybe a pre-breakfast and then a
yeah,
breakfast. Think of it as
yeah.
like a
First breakfast,
that's
second
actually a good
breakfast.
idea for a business, like an English breakfast buffet.
Yeah, yeah,
Like
yeah.
you have like
I would
try,
love that.
yeah, so you could just go up and just eat as much as you wanted.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
would just fill my plate with hash browns. Like
yeah,
I really miss hash browns. I can't find them here. Like I would have to make them.
yeah.
Yorkshire puddings as well. I miss Yorkshire
Okay,
puddings. English desserts as well. I
yeah,
really miss English desserts. Like Spain has great food, but their desserts are just not like they're not big on desserts in
yeah.
Spain. But in
Okay,
England, I think the desserts are sometimes the main part. Like they're
definitely.
the thing that people look forward to.
Yeah,
I really
definitely.
miss
I think
them.
it's a nice way to finish off a meal, especially when
Yep,
if the meal isn't the best, you can save it with the dessert at the end.
exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
And the opposite happens as well. Like if the
yeah,
meal's amazing but the dessert's not good,
yes,
what are you going home talking about? You're
yeah,
talking about how bad the dessert was.
that's
Like
true.
it's a big thing.
Yeah, that's true. I think if you're not sure what to do, just have a cup of tea and
Yeah.
a biscuit, a rich tea biscuit, and
Exactly. Oh, I love
yeah.
malted milk biscuits. They don't have malted milk here. It's
Ah,
shortbread. Shortbread I can buy in some places, but it's like really expensive brands. I just like
yes,
the really sugary, like Tesco's own, Morrison's own for like 30p, you know?
yeah, yeah, yeah. And also, so how's the weather today?
Today it's quite cloudy.
Yeah.
It's been raining recently as well here in Barcelona the
Okay.
past, I was gonna say the past few days. It's been the past week.
Right.
This time of year,
Hmm.
it's quite rainy,
Okay.
which surprises quite a few tourists. You
Mm.
know, they come to Spain looking for sun and
Yeah.
blue skies, and then it's
Yes.
like, yeah, but it's the most miserable
Yeah.
kind of time is this sort of spring. I guess it's like in England, like spring showers. It's
Yes.
it's it's kind of like that here as well. But
Okay.
yeah, quite
Yeah.
miserable today. Bit windy, but
Yeah.
warm.
Yeah.
So it's
Good.
okay.
Sounds good. Can't complain. So over the
Exactly.
winter period, did you manage to escape getting a cold, or did you pick something up during this winter period?
Oh, I was really ill on Christmas Day.
Sorry to
So
hear.
much so that my
Yeah.
Christmas was cancelled.
Wow.
We were supposed to go out. Usually on Christmas Day, we go see my boyfriend's family because they
Yeah.
live like an hour away
Okay.
by car. And we had to ring in the morning and say, "Oh, sorry, we can't come. We're
Mm.
dying." Because we were so ill. Like I hadn't been that ill for a very long time. I get
Mm.
sick quite often. I think it's
Okay.
normal. My boyfriend's a nurse. He works in a hospital. He brings
Okay.
things
That's
home
handy.
and
Yeah.
yeah, well, it's handy unless you don't want to get sick. He
Yeah.
brings all sorts home from work. But yeah, our Christmas was sadly cancelled. We were very, very ill. And when I'm very ill, like
Yeah.
I'm very ill, like I can't
Okay.
get out of bed.
Right.
So yeah, so we had to
That's
kind of make up for a bad Christmas. I cancelled Christmas and
yeah.
instead celebrate it on New Year's Day.
Oh. Well, sorry to hear that. I've got
It's
as I was saying
fine.
before, I've got a bit of the man flu. So I was like very proud
Yeah.
of myself for not getting sick during this winter period. And now that it's
It'll get
almost
you.
over, yeah, it's almost over. And I just picked something up the other day. And I was saying to you before, I'm having lots of lemsip. So
Yeah.
lemsip is quite quintessential to British culture. I think every
It
family
is.
would have a box of lemsip. And
Yeah,
the stuff is just it cures everything.
it
But
does.
yeah, but you need to
Yeah.
have a lot of honey. Um, but yeah, it's good stuff. I think
But do you add honey to your lemsip?
yeah,
Because I never used to. I used
yeah.
to just suffer with the horrible taste, but maybe I've done it
No,
wrong.
yeah, I think like my mum used to give it to me without any honey, but
Yeah.
as I got older, I was right. I was okay, right. No, I need to have honey in it.
Yeah. No more
It's
suffering. End the
yes.
cycle.
Yeah, definitely. And it should work. Honey's good for you, right? It's good for your immune
Yeah.
system. Can
Yeah.
us
Depends on the honey, I think. Because
yeah.
apparently, like supermarket honey's just sugar water. Like it's not even
Ah,
real honey.
yeah. My friend was telling me about Manuka. I think it's Manuka honey.
I've heard of this.
That's
Yeah.
supposed to be quite good. And you get
Hmm.
different grades of it, and it can really increase in price. But it's
Hmm.
supposed to be the good stuff, the good bees. Yeah,
The
it's
good
good.
bees, as
Yeah.
opposed to the naughty bees
Yeah.
that do the
So
cheaper
you've
honey.
got the Tesco bees, or you've got
Yeah,
the Harrods bees making the quality honey.
the little uniforms.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, like I said before, I was having a look at your channel, your YouTube channel,
Mhm.
and it seems that you've been on there for quite some time, about 6 years.
Yeah, I
And
think it's like 7, probably nearly coming up to 8 years
yeah,
now.
so
Yeah,
it's
it's been a
quite
while.
a journey. And I saw the first video, and I
Oh
looked at
no.
the thumbnail with
Oh no.
you with the beard,
Oh no.
and it's quite a progression. It's almost like
Yeah.
you're documenting your life, that people are watching you grow up on
Yeah.
YouTube.
Yeah.
What were you thinking when you initially made that thumbnail?
Clearly, I was thinking this is gonna go viral. This
Yeah,
this is the video
yeah,
that's gonna kickstart my channel.
yeah.
No, I mean, I've always been silly.
Mm.
Um,
Silly's good.
and I think it's healthy, right?
Yeah,
To be silly. I think if you're too
definitely.
serious, then life just isn't as fun.
Exactly.
But yeah, I remember just thinking at the time, I'm just gonna create like a silly thumbnail. I'm just gonna put a beard on myself because, for context, people listening, the video is about the words bear, beer, bird, and beard.
Yes.
And it was a problem that a lot of my students had at the time. And I thought, oh, it would be easy to make this video as just it's just to start a video just to get the channel going.
Yeah.
I wasn't, I mean, I joked about going viral, but I
Yeah.
wasn't expecting to go viral.
Yeah.
It was actually just a way for me to help my current students, like
Yes.
to help my private students at the time. So yeah, a lot of them had problems with bare beer, burn beard,
Yeah.
and I thought, oh, it'd be a silly little thumbnail, and I haven't changed it. And I know, I mean, I say this quite often that some teachers, some YouTubers, they go back to their old content
Mm.
and they either change thumbnails or change titles or delete them even.
Yes.
But I've kept it because I want people to see, especially teachers who are thinking of starting a YouTube channel as well.
Yes.
I want them to see how I started and to see that progression. And
Yeah.
hopefully there's a progression.
Yeah.
And just see that transformation of how things have gone on. Because I
Yeah.
get some people saying, oh, you're so lucky. Your channel has, XYZ subscribers. I'm like, yeah, but it's taken me a long time. Go look at my first video. It was awful. And I
Definitely.
think it acts like a time capsule for them.
Yes.
It's it's nice. And those videos, they still get views.
Yeah.
People still watch
Definitely.
them.
And it's also relevant. It's relevant to what you are teaching.
Yeah,
For
exactly.
example, I've put my face on a burger and fries before. It's not my proudest moment.
I think I
Um,
saw that video, the stop saying I want. Is that
yes, yeah.
what?
So I was trying to explain some idioms, some phrases, and I just had this idea flash. Okay, let me put my face on some fries and a burger just to explain it a bit more. But yeah, never again, I don't think.
You
Um,
say that, but
yeah,
you never say never in the world of YouTube.
you may see
I
my
always
face on a
said I
Jaffa
would.
cake in the future.
Exactly. I always said I would never do like that I would never talk about my personal life. But then a
Yeah,
lot of people started asking
yeah,
and I realized, oh, actually, it makes sense for me to share more about me and not just make it about pronunciation. Like it's good. People like to
yes,
hear about my journey with learning Spanish, my journey living abroad,
yeah,
just my life in general. Yeah,
yeah,
it makes you more human. Put
definitely.
yourself on more objects.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. But I think it's also good, like for my students, to actually. That was one of the reasons for starting the channel as well. So after the lessons or before the lessons, my students could have a look at the video to prepare
Yeah,
themselves, and they have something to refer back to. So you're killing two birds with one stone. So you can reach more people, and help the existing students that you have. So I think, yeah, that's
exactly.
good. Perfect.
Yep.
And talking about content creation, how do you find content creation? Is there anything that, well, firstly, let's talk about what you like about content creation. What do you like
Hmm.
about it?
I like, I just, what do I like? I like the creativity
Yeah.
to it. I like that I can help a lot of people with just one video.
Yes.
Um, it's it's so nice. I mean, nice is such an understatement of a word, but it's so heartwarming, I
Yeah.
think is probably the closest adjective I can get to how I feel.
Yeah.
When I read a comment from someone who says something along the lines of, hi, my name is blah blah. I live in blah blah village.
Yeah.
I've always wanted to learn English, and your videos, they really help me. And it just makes me realize that all these numbers, they're not just numbers. I think sometimes as content creators, as YouTubers, we can see
Yes.
these numbers and be like, oh God, I only have 500 views. But if
Yeah.
you had a room full of 500
Exactly.
people, like
Yes.
that's insane. It actually is insane.
Yes.
So, yeah, it really helps me remember, oh, my content is helping people. And I don't know if you've had this happen to you, but I've had people in the street come up to me like they've recognized me
Okay.
and they're like, pronunciation with Emma. And then you can see they're sort of like looking like, is that her? Because I always look really
Yeah.
different in real life. I always look like
Okay.
really tired. I have no makeup, like my hair's a mess, you know?
Yeah.
And people are like, pronunciation with Emma. And
Yeah.
then I'll look and then they're like, oh, it is you. And you know, they'll tell me how much my videos have helped them pass an exam or
Yeah.
something. And it's like, oh my God, there's me just filming like in my office, just a
Yeah.
normal woman
Yeah.
in my normal house, in my normal office,
Yeah.
helping so many people.
Mm.
It's crazy. It really is. But
Yeah.
that's the that's the best part of it.
Yeah. That's wonderful. I remember I had someone comment on one of my videos that he he doesn't think anyone can learn English on YouTube.
Mhm.
And I left it. Then the next day he responded and he apologized, um, and said, I can see what you're trying to build. So it's quite interesting because sometimes people can think that you can't learn something like a language on YouTube. You have
Mhm.
to go to a formal setting, but I think it can help. I think two things combined together are very powerful to reinforce the learning. Because in real life conversations, we're not walking dictionaries where,
Mhm.
where we can just spin up fantastic advanced words all the time. There's a difference between learning, really studying a specific thing like pronunciation or grammar,
Mhm.
and then putting it into practice in
Yeah.
real life. And I think listening to real life conversations, podcasts can really help.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Everything helps.
Yeah.
Everything. Like I'm a firm believer that there's no one perfect way. Like
Yes.
if you, for example, if you just go to a 1 hour class a week and then you
Yeah.
leave and then you don't do anything outside that 1 hour class,
Yeah.
you're not really going to improve that much.
Yeah.
So, yeah, like, of course, private classes are one of the best ways if people can afford it.
Yeah.
But just doing that, like, they can't just improve that one thing. It's podcasts, it's YouTube, it's talking to friends,
Yeah.
it's going for a cheeky trip to London, you know, for a weekend, you know. It's
Yeah.
all these little things.
And
Yeah.
for me, I used to listen to the radio when I was young. This was before the internet. So we used to listen to LBC, which is still going.
Right.
Yeah. And it was a personal experience. I found, because at the time we only had four TV channels, and
Hmm.
listening to the radio, we'd have the radio on all day, and you'd listen to different accents, different stories, and I think it really helped. And it's almost today, YouTube is becoming like that radio, where it's
Yep.
a visual
Hmm.
format, but you don't necessarily have to look at the screen to listen to what people are saying. So you're
Hmm.
exposed to so much more. I think it's really wonderful.
Yep.
So that's a positive. What about things that you found challenging? Maybe creating the videos or scripting.
Things I found challenging about
Yes.
content creation.
Yes.
Hey, I could very easily say, oh, finding the time, you know.
Yeah. No, you can
that
say that. It's
that's
okay.
that's the problem everyone has. But I think
Yeah.
that's a really boring answer. I'm going to give a more interesting one that people can debate in the
Okay.
comments.
Okay.
Or you can debate me on.
Okay.
But I find it one tricky thing I find about content creation is that we as content creators, as teachers, we try to create content for people, like we try to create content for everyone. And this can mean that even though we're trying to help everyone, it can mean that some people become excluded in some kind of way. For example, I have quite a lot of Spanish speakers following me. So I created a video, it was one video
Yeah.
about English pronunciation mistakes
Mhm.
that Spanish speakers make. And I had some, I don't want to call them hate comments because it's
Yeah.
not hate. It's just disgruntled
Okay.
viewers, let's
That's a
say,
nice word here.
who yeah, who were basically saying like, I'm not a Spanish speaker. Why have you made this video? And
Yeah.
it's almost like they take it as a personal attack that the
Yeah.
content isn't specific to them.
Yes.
Um, Yet they completely ignore the fact that the other 300 videos I've made are for everyone.
Yeah.
So, yeah, sometimes like dealing with that and dealing with people who they almost have this sense of self-entitlement. It's something I've talked about a bit before is there are some people online who really feel this sense of self-entitlement like
Right.
um that the content should be better in some way or higher quality, or
Right.
they think that you're a millionaire because you have thousands of subscribers and
Yeah.
therefore like, you know, why aren't you making more videos? What do you mean you've skipped a week to have a holiday? You know,
Yeah.
don't you have a big team? And I'm like, no, it is me and an
Yeah.
editor.
Yeah.
That is it for my YouTube channel. I have no script writers and teams of
Yeah.
20, 30
Well,
people
I
helping me.
think you're entitled because you have an editor. I'm joking.
For sure. For sure. I know. Look at me with my big fancy team, me and
Yeah.
my editor. But yeah, there are some people who really do think that like they're entitled to certain content. Like, why are you
Yeah.
focusing just on Spanish speakers? I'm not
Yeah.
a Spanish speaker. It's like, yeah, but the other like 500,000 people who watch my videos are just
Yeah.
because you're not one.
Yeah.
So yeah, dealing with those people, like disappointing people because of
Yeah.
my
It's interesting
content.
because
Yeah.
it's a cliche. You can't please everyone. And
Mm-hmm.
there's a balance between creating something which you want to create and then something which you think that there's a need for.
Mm-hmm.
So I think trying to
Yeah.
combine those two things and also making it interesting. If it's something that you're not passionate about, then you're not really spending your day wisely.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's quite an interesting answer because I was going to talk about editing and I could make a whole list here, sound production, dub,
We could
yeah,
definitely talk about that.
thumbnails. But no, I think trying to
Oh, you're
please
getting the right thumbnail.
yeah,
SEO.
yeah,
It's such
definitely.
a pain.
Yeah,
But no, I would say it's dealing with people who have this sense of self-entitlement.
yeah,
It adds a lot of pressure. And it's something I had to learn
mm,
was to not put this pressure on myself because
yeah,
ultimately the only one who's putting pressure on me is me. Like I
yeah,
don't have a boss that's telling me what to do. I'm telling myself what to do.
yeah,
But yeah, it doesn't help when people say things like, um, yeah, why is this video for Spanish speakers? I'm not Spanish. It's like
yeah,
there's one video, go watch the
yeah.
other 300.
Definitely. Yeah, it's interesting. And
Yeah.
what's about because there's a plethora of other social media sites, like Instagram and X and Threads. Do you use any
Mm.
of the others? How have you found the difference?
I actually started on Instagram.
Okay.
Um, and I started with Instagram like 8 years ago because I
Wow.
was too scared to do YouTube. I
Yeah.
was like, oh, YouTube is serious. Like
Yeah.
that's where all the big boys are. Like I
Yeah.
don't want to go on there. That's where
Yeah.
all the serious big teachers are. And actually I prefer YouTube over Instagram. People can fight me on this,
Mm,
but I mean the stats are there. So I will just show them the stats if they fight with me on this. But
yeah.
Instagram has just it's tried to become too much, and I think Meta slash Instagram have really
Mm,
lost what Instagram used to be.
yeah.
I mean, you just have to scroll through the For You page, and you don't even see the people's content that you're following anymore. Like before,
Mm,
it was all chronological, so people always saw your content.
mm,
And now you post a video, and even though I have like 250,000 followers on there, or
yeah.
200, it doesn't matter,
Yeah.
250,000,
Yeah.
um, Not even a quarter of them will see the content.
Wow.
And it's kind of heartbreaking because it's like I've given 8 years of my time to this
Yeah.
platform and this is how it's repaid me.
Yeah.
Um, and I also find as well, I don't like Instagram as much. Well, not just Instagram. I don't like short form platforms, like
Yeah.
short form content platforms anymore.
Yeah.
And it's simply because I felt like it became less about making content that was actually good.
Right.
And it became more about perfecting the perfect hook to get
Yeah.
people and get their attention.
Yeah.
And I thought, why am I wasting my time
Yeah.
trying to create these quick edit videos to keep someone's attention
Yeah.
when I can make like a 10-minute YouTube video and people will watch the whole thing and I can get more content in there and people are more appreciative.
Yeah.
You've got, I think it's like 3 seconds of, oh, what's the word? Of someone's attention span
Ah, yes. Yeah.
on Instagram before
Okay.
they swipe. And it's
Yeah.
like, why would I waste an hour
Yeah.
like planning, filming,
Yeah.
editing, and then scheduling the video, writing the descriptions and everything
Yeah.
when people don't even want to watch more than 3 seconds?
Yeah.
It's a complete waste of my time.
Yeah.
It's great, for short content. I'm not poo-pooing the platform in any
Yeah.
way, and the content
Yeah.
people do. It's just not for me. I'm a YouTube girly,
Yeah. Yeah.
or I'm at least like a long form content girly. Like I
Yeah.
love podcasts, I love YouTube.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think short form content has done its time. I think
Yeah.
people are tired of
Yeah.
it as well.
Definitely. I mean, for a while, I was trying to post on all of the platforms,
Oh my
and
God,
I
don't.
and I was just
Yeah,
getting
don't.
burnt out because I was
Yeah,
also editing the videos as well. And like a video
yeah,
may take like 10, 12 hours. And I'm
yeah.
just working on it and then posting it and then creating content from that to put on the other social media platforms. And I was just like, no, I just need to focus on one.
And the sad thing is that you'll put all this time and effort into a short video, and then after like 3 to 5 days, no one will ever see that video again. Like it
Yeah,
just goes into the abyss of meta,
yeah,
and no
definitely.
one will see it again. But on YouTube, as I said, the bear beard,
Yeah,
bird beard video,
very good.
from like 8 years ago.
Yeah.
People still watch it. People still comment, and they're like, "Oh my God, cringe!" Because I tell
And
people to comment that,
yeah, okay. And
Um,
have you
like,
had any strange comments?
oh my God, yeah,
Okay.
loads. How long can this podcast episode be? I've got so
We, we can
many.
go for three
Yeah, yeah.
hours. Okay.
Okay. I've got time.
Okay. You
Let me
got
just clear
building
my
works
schedule.
going on, it's fine.
Yeah. Yeah, they're still quiet. They must be enjoying a very long lunch this
Okay.
afternoon. Um, Oh God. Yeah, I've had some weird stuff. I honestly don't even know where to begin. There's the kind of boring, predictable stuff like, will you marry me?
Yeah.
What's your WhatsApp number? They're like the two most common questions I get. Nothing
Okay.
related to English. Like
Right.
those are the two common questions I get. Other ones I've had, other weird things. Of course, people getting upset that I won't teach them privately for free. They're
Okay.
like, oh,
Yeah.
please, just 5 minutes a day. Please, 5 minutes. I'm like, if I did a 5 minute call with all the people that asked for a 5 minute call,
Yeah.
I would have no more
Yeah.
minutes in the day left.
Wow.
Like, it would just be impossible. But others, yeah, I've had some people ask me to wear more makeup so I'll get more views.
Wow.
I've had people say to me that I only get views because I wear makeup.
Right. Wow.
So the two contradicting things, it's
Yeah.
strange. I've had people to not have my dog in the videos, and
Right.
my dog is literally here with me right now. She's
Yeah.
asleep. She's always with me. I've had people ask me to convert certain religions, to cover my hair,
Wow.
to there was one video where I put my hair up, like,
Right.
in a ponytail like this.
Yeah.
and or it's a live stream or something. And I
Okay.
had so many comments from people, Emma, your hair's much better. Put it down, put it down. When I had my hair cut, so every 2 to 3 years,
Right.
I have my hair cut, and I usually
Okay.
have it cut quite short because I donate it.
Right.
Um, and the amount of comments I get every single time I cut my hair,
Yeah.
like people get mad, like really mad. They take it again like a personal offense. Like,
Yeah.
you've cut your beautiful long
I
hair.
think
Why
yeah,
did you cut it?
it's going to affect your pronunciation if you cut your hair.
You definitely pronounce better when my hair is longer in the videos. Yeah,
Okay.
statistically.
Helps with the
Yeah,
audio.
I've had
Yeah.
the silliest things. Have you had anything
Not
anything strange?
really.
Anyone told you to grow your hair?
No, that would be impossible at my age, by the way. So, but it's actually
Can try.
I can they can ask me to get rid of it because
It's
it's all
receipt.
going. Yeah. I had one
No.
person talk about their missing duck. I'm
Ah,
till this day, I'm not sure if it's a serious comment or not, and I do hope
definitely was.
I hope he's found his duck because I was deeply concerned because he seemed very stressed about his missing duck.
Oh, bless
But
him.
apart from that, not really. I think back in the day I tried TikTok for a while, but then
That's
I quickly
yeah.
got off after the comments. I was like, no,
Yeah, the comments are an absolute
yeah.
cesspit. It's a good word there, some vocabulary, cesspit.
But I think on the
Um,
whole, it's quite been quite good though. I
yeah,
think quite,
I would say out of all the platforms, like
yeah,
in general, YouTube's probably been the nicest one. Well, YouTube and Instagram have always been nice,
yes,
but TikTok, I had so many angry Americans. Like, they
yeah,
were always so angry. They're like, we don't pronounce it like that over here. And it's like, yes, because you are literally in a different country speaking a different dialect. Of course, you're
yeah,
not going to say schedule.
yeah,
You're going to say schedule,
yeah,
things like that. But
yeah,
yeah, they took great offense to the
yeah.
content.
It's almost like I learned to have a thick skin because I
Yes.
realized that people are just kind of venting. You don't know who their real name is. They're using it as a way
Hmm.
to get rid of stress, blow off steam, but then it's at
Yep.
your expense. So, you spent so many hours making this content. So I
Hmm.
think, yeah, just stick to the platform where you're receiving positive comments. And on the whole, on YouTube, I think people are really appreciative.
Yeah,
They
they are.
really, yeah, and it's lovely when you get these comments about how it's really helped them. So I think it's really wonderful.
Yep. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, yeah. It's definitely, I think some people they just have a very bad day. Actually, I did have one guy. This was a few years back, and I still remember this one comment. It's so strange, the things I remember. Can't remember my own phone number or my address sometimes. Yeah, I
Yeah.
remember this stupid comment from years
Yeah.
ago. And I was doing a promotion for my course, and this guy saw the price, and he was like, "The price is so expensive. Oh, what are you doing? If you change this to like €1, then you could all you need is 10,000 people, and you've made €10,000." But
Yeah.
silly logic.
Mm.
And I'm thinking, if he's saying stuff like this, he doesn't know anything about marketing.
Yeah.
Because even getting people to donate €1 to you is extremely hard, right?
Yes. Yeah.
But yeah, I basically just responded by saying, and he was like really nasty about
Mm.
it, and I don't usually respond.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just responded with something again very calm, like saying something like, um, I'm sorry if this is out of your budget. That's absolutely fine. However, if you do the maths on this, it works out at about €1 a day,
Yeah.
even less, if you go for this other option, blah, blah, blah. But as I said, if it's not for you, don't worry about it. He actually responded
Mm.
like the next day, and he
Right.
said, "Oh, I'm so sorry. I actually didn't think you would see this. I didn't think you would respond. I'm really sorry if I've upset you." And I just responded saying, I wasn't upset, but, just think before you post these things because we do read our comments.
Yeah. We
Yeah,
do
yeah, so sorry,
exist.
so sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think some people genuinely believe that the more subscribers you have, the less likely you are to read their comments, which is
Yeah,
is true.
yeah.
But the less likely you are to read it, and therefore it justifies them being able to say these things because they
Mm,
think, oh, I'm just posting it and I feel better now. I've got my dopamine kick.
yeah,
But yeah, the surprise is that we do actually read the comments,
yeah.
and
We are
they are,
real. We're not
yeah,
AI yet.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
We've not been replaced yet.
exactly.
Still time.
Yeah, definitely. And also, you mentioned your dog. How many dogs do you have?
I have one. She's
Okay,
here right now. I would show you, but the place is a mess. So
that's okay. And what's
she's
her
fast
name?
asleep. Freya, or
Freya.
Freya in
Ah,
Spanish.
okay, it's a lovely name. And how long have you had her for?
Mm, she's about 2.5 years old now. We got her when she was a little puppy.
Oh,
Basically, she was an accident,
okay.
and her biological mum, let's call her, because I'm her mum,
Yeah,
but her bio mum,
yeah,
wasn't really interested in her, like didn't really care about her, and their owners at the time as well, like it was basically a boyfriend and a girlfriend,
okay.
and their dogs got together, had babies
Yeah,
accidentally,
yeah,
and Freya was actually part of the second litter, so
right,
the second group of puppies.
right.
And so it was the second accident, and it's like surely after the first accident you would neuter your dog, but
Yeah,
anyway, they really didn't care about these puppies. They would just open the door in the morning, kick the puppies out, go play
oh,
outside, come back at nighttime. They'd be covered in dirt because they'd
yeah,
been playing all day. And yeah, they just didn't really care about them. So she wasn't like she had a very fun, wild few weeks in
yeah.
the
Can
first part of her
imagine.
life.
Yeah,
But yeah, she wasn't really wanted. But yeah, luckily she's very wanted now. She's
yeah.
my
It's
best
a
friend. So it really hurts me
heartwarming
actually when I
story.
see comments
Yeah,
saying, "Get that dog out of my video." I
sure.
literally had a comment from another teacher, another another teacher with a YouTube channel and everything,
Yeah,
comment on one of my videos saying, "I hate you because you have this dog."
wow,
And then they wrote something else. I won't repeat it, but they said that I should do something to my dog.
wow.
And I thought, you're literally a language teacher. Like, why are you saying these
Yes,
things?
you're having this ha
We're meant to be
hatred towards this
peers.
dog. I mean, it's a bit different. Maybe
Yeah.
if you're parading the dog to get more views and like look at the cuteness,
Yeah.
then
Fully the
then
ones in my video. Yeah, it makes
exactly.
sense, but she's
Yeah,
just in the background chilling. Yeah.
that's a bit strange.
Very. So some
Yeah,
people really hate dogs. When she
wow.
was a puppy, she got quite a few hate comments. And I'm like, if you're gonna hate such a tiny little puppy, then there's something wrong with you.
Yeah, that's a bit strange. As I
But the
was,
majority love her, I must
yeah,
say.
that's good to know. As I was telling you a bit earlier, that my daughter is thinking of getting a kitten. So she specifically
Oh.
wants a kitten, not a cat.
Of course,
Yeah.
yeah.
And just somehow I've like, now I want to get a cat because I've watched so many YouTube videos and documentaries. Like,
Podcast.
yeah. So she's looked at, I think it is a British short hair cat.
Oh.
And it's interesting because I wasn't really a cat person before. So she showed me all of these videos of cute British short hair kittens and cats.
Hmm.
Yeah, and I've even watched documentaries on them. So, but so far I'm saying no, but I'm
What's
slowly. It's
what's
just
your best cat fact
my best cat
that
fact.
you've learned from
I
these
think,
documentaries?
God, I think this documentary about how in Egypt they would breed cats to be mummified. And I found it fascinating because they really revered cats because they would kill the snakes. So they were
Ah.
almost like another babysitter. And,
Hmm.
they had cat gods and they used to mummify the cats. And there was like, they bred millions of cats.
Wow.
Yeah. So it was.
I
Interesting.
didn't
So
know they mummified them. I knew that
yes,
cats were like worshipped,
yeah,
in ancient Egypt,
yeah,
but I
and
didn't
some
know they were mummified.
yeah, and some people say this could be one of the reasons why you have bright colored cats, because there was no need for them to have the usual striped. Because normally when you think of a cat, you think of black or white or brown with stripes. But if you
Hmm.
think about bright colored cats, they would stand out. It's more dangerous for them. But over time, and maybe the crossbreeding. So yeah, it was really interesting.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
And it seems
How
like a good,
interesting.
yeah, it seems like a good way to reduce stress as well.
Yep.
Um, but it's, I think there's a lot. So firstly, there's a lot of commitment, I think, and doing a lot of the dirty work, which I think that
Mm,
I will have to do. So,
yeah.
so I'm just like holding off for now. I mean, a fish would do, right? A
Yeah.
fish, fish is
It's like
cute.
a snail or something. You should be
Yeah,
fine.
definitely. Like a snail,
Yeah.
watching a snail crawl. I think that would be
Oh, that's
entertaining.
fun. Yeah.
Yeah. No, but yeah,
Yeah, I definitely think cats, especially kittens. I mean, Freya was a real handful when she was a
mm,
puppy. Like she was a horrible little puppy, like all
yeah,
puppies are. They're just hard work. It's how they are.
yeah,
But yeah, I recommend like don't don't get a baby, like a
yeah,
baby animal of some kind, because like if you don't have a lot of time, they will take any
yeah,
extra time you have.
yeah.
I didn't sleep for 2 weeks with
Wow,
Freya.
wow. And speaking about time, it's a nice segue. How do you use your time? What do you spend your time on? So when it's not
Hmm.
teaching, creating videos, what do you like to do?
It really depends. Depends on the energy levels I have.
Yeah,
Depends on the weather. Like if it's too hot, like I don't want
yeah,
to do stuff outside.
yeah,
If there's construction going on next door, like I don't
yeah.
really want to be in my office. But some things I tend to do, I really enjoy going for walks in the forest with
Hmm.
Freya. We live really close to a woods and it
Okay.
like leads into a forest.
Yeah.
Um, we do that, I would say, at least once a week. Like we'll go to the woods together at least once a week. That's really nice.
Yeah.
And it's really quiet and quite safe as well.
Mm.
Like when you think of the woods, you think, oh, it's really dangerous.
Yeah.
But there's like a nice little path and quite a few people as well.
Mm.
So other people walking their dogs, so it's really nice.
Mm.
So I enjoy doing that. Other things as well. So before, I used to go climbing quite a bit. Like
Okay.
I didn't like bouldering that much because I was scared of falling, but
Right.
I really enjoyed just rock climbing, like not like rock climbing
Is this
outside. That's too extreme.
indoor climbing?
Yeah, exactly. So I would like clip myself and then I would climb up
Yeah.
and I really enjoyed that. And then I recently stopped simply because, well, one, the gym started increasing their prices, and I was
Okay.
like, this is getting like nearly 80 euros a month for a climbing gym. Like this is
Wow.
expensive.
Yeah.
Um, so I wanted to kind of find another hobby, let's say that's a sporty hobby, but
Yeah.
doesn't cost me 80 euros a month. And I did exactly the opposite. Now I'm actually paying more.
Yeah.
But I wanted to for the longest time I'd always been scared about doing this, but
Mm.
I finally bit the bullet and I
Yeah.
did it.
Yeah.
I got a personal trainer.
Okay.
So once a week, we just focus on developing strength because I
Yeah.
just want to get stronger. Like I
Yeah.
realized simple things like just picking up a stack of plates. I was like, oh, this is quite heavy, like like
Are they made
wiping
of
the
are
sweat.
they made of gold?
Yeah, like
The
just
gold plates.
solid gold
The
plates.
finest china.
Yeah, unfortunately not.
Yeah.
The YouTube ad revenue doesn't pay that much.
Yeah.
But yeah, I it was just little things like that. Or when I went to the supermarket and I had to carry bags back, it was
Mm.
always like, oh, I'm always stopping and changing hands, or like
Wow.
bags of dog food, like the big bags of dog food for Freya. I was always like stopping and changing hands, and I thought,
Yeah.
like, it shouldn't be like this. Like I
Yeah,
shouldn't things like it shouldn't be like this. Things should
yeah,
be easier. I should be able to go shopping and not be switching hands and stuff.
yeah,
Like this isn't right.
yeah.
Um, so yeah, I decided to start going to a personal trainer, and we have a training session every Friday morning. And that guy, he makes me work, right? Like there's no messing around. Like he really
Yeah,
makes me suffer.
yeah,
But I love it. Like I
yeah,
can't walk for a day or two after,
yeah,
but I can feel it's working.
yeah.
And one of my goals for the first 3 months, for the first quarter of the year, right? I like to divide my year into quarters, like in
Okay.
business.
Yeah.
For the first quarter, my goal is to do one push up. And when
Okay.
I say to people like, "Oh, it's my goal to do one push up," they're like, "Oh, that's like nothing." Like, but how many people do you know
Yeah.
who could actually do like a full like nose to the floor and
Yes.
then
And
back up again?
not on your knees either.
No, a
Or
proper
yeah, yeah,
proper push up. That like people laugh at that goal,
yeah,
but they're usually the people who can't do it anyway, or
yeah,
they do it on their knees. I'm like,
yeah,
that's not even a push up.
yeah,
Well, that's cheating.
yeah,
So yeah, that's my goal, and I told my personal trainer that that's my goal, and I
yeah.
have a month and a half left to be able to do that goal, but I'm
Okay.
getting there.
That's good. Yeah, I think strength training particularly is
Yeah.
brilliant. It's fantastic. And I think
It really
especially
is.
as you age, just in terms of doing functional things, like you said, carrying shopping, moving furniture around.
Yeah.
Um, the turning point for me was last year. I went to tie my shoelaces and I felt something in my knee. And I had to sit
Oh.
down and put some ice on my knee. My wife was laughing at me, saying, "What's wrong with you?" Um, yeah. And I was like, okay. And it took a good 10 minutes before I was like, okay, like I feel fine.
Oh.
And yeah,
Yeah.
it's all good now. But it
Hmm.
it reminded me, okay, I need to get back to the gym, start training, start
Yeah.
stretching. I use a foam roller, which is
Hmm.
fantastic for stretching out your muscles, your back, your legs. But
Hmm.
I think doing some kind of exercise is brilliant. I think it's really good. And
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Especially strength training, because
yeah,
like with climbing, yeah, it was great. Like I was, kind of training like my arms and my leg. Like my legs were super strong because in
yeah,
climbing you use your legs a lot.
yes,
People think it's all in the arms, but actually
yeah,
it's mostly in the legs. So
yeah,
my legs are like, a horse's legs, like they're
yeah,
super strong.
yeah,
My arms like nothing.
yeah,
But I realized that it's not super practical.
yeah,
So I would start doing like cardio and things in the little gym upstairs, and
yeah,
I didn't find it worked. But this, like just going once a week,
mm,
um, and then walking my dog every day, like
yeah,
I've seen more of a difference doing that in
yeah,
my everyday life. I've seen more of a difference than
yeah,
than I ever did with like 3 or 4 years of climbing.
definitely. I think it's also good for your mind as well.
Yeah,
If it's climbing or if it's doing some kind of exercise, I think when you're going through that
so
struggle, and like when I go to the gym and I see other people in pain, it's like, okay, then I'm not the only one that's struggling.
yeah,
I can see other
yeah,
people in
yeah,
pain, and
yeah,
you're giving up your time because we've got so many things to do in the day. We've got so many lists of things that we have to
yeah.
do, and then taking that time out to do the exercise, you would think it's counterproductive, but it gives you the energy to
Hmm.
then tackle those difficult things and come up with
Yep.
new ideas and have more energy.
Hmm.
So it's almost like you have to spend energy to get energy back. And
Yeah.
you get eventually, I think initially you're just on the floor. Takes you a while to
Yeah,
recover.
you're like
Literally.
dying.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Where's this energy I was promised? Where's the dopamine I was
Yeah,
promised?
exactly. And I think this is why like a lot of people they have the New Year's resolutions and then they give up,
Hmm.
in February. But I think
Yeah, yeah.
keep going. It's good for your mental health, definitely. Also, it makes your bones stronger as well.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
by doing weight training,
Hmm.
so I'm a bit older than you are, so I need to ensure that my bones are strong.
Hmm.
So doing the weight training, I think, really helps with that. I think that's really good.
Yep. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. There's no real downside to it, unless like you hurt yourself, but then that's your own fault. That's
yeah,
because you were either not, training properly or something, but it's so easily avoidable.
yeah,
That's actually one reason why I wanted a personal trainer because I didn't want to hurt myself and I didn't
yeah,
want to give myself an excuse.
yeah,
Because I've done it before with climbing. Like I've hurt myself and then I'm like, oh, that's me out of climbing for 2 weeks.
yeah,
No gym for me.
yeah,
And I've used it as an excuse, and now I have no excuse.
yeah. No, that's really good. And do you find
Yeah.
time for things like Netflix or TV or
Oh
movies?
yeah, every day. Like I've actually just recently finished watching House.
Okay.
The TV series
Yeah,
House
yeah,
that finished like 20 years ago.
yeah.
Yeah, I've now started watching another TV series. What's it called? The Resident, I think it's
Okay.
called. Have you seen it?
I haven't though.
Resident TV series. I think it's called The Resident. Yeah, it
Okay.
is. Yeah, it's called The Resident. Um, it's another like medical drama. I don't know why I'm going through a medical drama phase. I
Yeah,
go through different phases. Like I went through a crime phase at one point, and then
yeah.
like a murder
You
phase,
should
and
check.
now
Have you watched ER before?
ER. Hold on,
ER with
because I've seen so
George
many.
Clooney. That was
George
the
Clooney.
original GOAT ER. It's quite
Oh
old now, but
no.
yeah.
Oh, but it's not on. It's not on Netflix.
Okay. If
Uh,
Netflix is watching, put it on Netflix. It's fantastic. It was the original, I think. Do you remember Casualty?
Oh my God. Yeah, what a throwback. My mum
Yeah,
used to love that. And
yeah,
Holby City.
yes, yeah. I think Holby City was more like the cooler version of
Yeah.
Casualty.
Well, there
Um,
was one in an ambulance, right? There's one with ambulances and one in the
oh
hospital.
God, I'm not sure, but I do remember Casualty. I grew up watching that.
Yeah.
But ER is almost like the American version, and it just
Okay.
catapulted George Clooney and a few others. That was really good. I've watched The House. Who's the main actor? He was in.
Hugh Laurie? Is that his
Yes,
name?
that's it. Yeah, he was in the Blackadder, I think.
He was. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. I mean, he's been in all sorts of
yeah.
stuff.
Now
Actually, I'm looking now. He was in
the
Stuart Little,
yeah
apparently. I don't
the
remember
the
that.
$1 million question: how is his American accent?
Very good.
Yeah,
Very, very good. You know what? I was actually watching the what do you call it? Like a behind the scenes episode last
yeah.
night.
Okay,
And it's on Netflix as well if anyone's interested. It's the very, very final episode.
okay.
And it's so weird because Hugh Laurie doesn't speak with his American accent. He
Yeah,
speaks with his British accent because, of
yeah,
course, it's behind the scenes. He just
yeah,
speaks how he normally would.
yeah,
And it was either the director or the producer or someone like a casting director. I don't remember
yeah.
when they were trying to cast the character, the person for House.
Mm.
They they basically wanted someone who was like an obnoxious American. That was what he said,
Okay.
right? And then he listened to Hugh Laurie's audition tape, and he was like, "This guy's perfect. He's got this obnoxious sort of American voice to him. Like, he's American." He
Yeah,
really like focused on this part that he was American.
yeah.
And then when he found out he wasn't American, he was like, what the heck?
Wow,
Like he was perfect for the role, but he wasn't even American. And people for the longest time thought he was American. I
wow.
forgot that he was British. When he spoke with his British accent, I was like,
Yeah,
oh my God, he doesn't
yeah,
sound like him. Actually, the
yeah,
British accent sounds fake because I only heard the American accent for so long.
yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. It's interesting. Like if you have exposure to how they speak naturally, then I think
Yeah.
you can notice it a bit more.
Yeah.
For example, with is it Tom Holland, the actor
Tom,
that plays Spider-Man? So
is he American?
he's British.
Oh, he is. Yeah, I
Yes,
remember.
and
Hmm.
when I saw the interview for the first time, I was like, is he acting now? Because his American accent sounded brilliant. Yeah, sounded really good.
Is It's so funny, isn't it? I tell you
Yeah.
who's a really good one for people to listen to is Millie Bobby Brown.
Okay.
She was in Stranger Things.
Ah,
She played
yes.
the
Yeah.
main character 11 in Stranger Things, and she's been
Yes.
in other films as well since then.
Okay.
And she's actually British. When you
Right.
listen to her, like her native accent, let's call it,
Yes.
is
Yeah.
British.
Yeah.
But she sounds so American and so convincing. And
Yeah.
it's interesting listening to her because when she does interviews,
Mm.
she changes her accent depending on where she's doing the interview. And she's
Right.
actually said that she kind of like subconsciously or
Wow.
unconsciously, I should say, does this.
Yeah.
So she has an interview in the UK and she's surrounded by Brits.
Yeah.
She will speak with a British accent. But if she's
Right.
being interviewed in the US, she speaks with an American accent, which I
Wow.
find very interesting.
Wow. Do you ever think about your future? Do you see yourself on YouTube for the next 10 years?
When I'm like 80 years old,
Yeah.
still on
Yeah.
YouTube,
I know it's
trying
a
to get
bit
to a million.
yeah, it's a bit of like a loaded question because
Yeah.
but yeah, like a 5 year, 10 year plan. Do you ever think about the future?
I do. Yeah. I mean, it's not something I kind of, it is something I sort of think about every day. Like I have a present Emma and a future Emma, and
Yeah.
I do certain things because I know that future Emma will appreciate it and
Yeah.
will thank me later. Like, keeping my tax return stuff tidy. And then
Yeah.
when it comes to my tax returns, I'm like, thank you, past Emma,
Yeah.
little things like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, like way into the future. I definitely have like a personal 5 year plan, a business 5 year plan.
Yeah.
Um, when it comes to like the business plan, let's say, that sounds very formal, the
Yeah.
business plan, but in the context of work and business,
Yeah.
I would definitely like to do more with my business.
Yeah.
I want to keep growing
Mm.
my channel, my social media, helping more people.
Yeah.
I already have plans to develop more courses that are more specific. I really want to bring back private lessons and group lessons because I
Yeah.
really miss them. I haven't done
Yeah.
them for about 2.5, 3 years now.
Okay.
So, but it feels like a lot of time has passed. I feel like I haven't done it for like 10 years, but
Yeah.
I only stopped doing private lessons maybe 2 years ago. And yeah, I'd like to start doing them again.
Mm.
I really miss them because besides being a YouTuber,
Yeah.
I am a teacher.
Yeah.
Like I started just doing one-to-one lessons. I did my
Yeah.
CELTA, my master's, I did a
Yeah.
linguistics degree. Like I'm a teacher.
Yeah.
I'm not a YouTuber. I'm just a teacher with a YouTube channel.
And you also
So yeah,
get that you also get that interaction with the people.
yeah,
So I find that,
exactly.
so for
Yeah.
example, the transition, so when I'm teaching students in a one-to-one session, you can really tailor your approach
Yeah.
and you can have your lesson plan, but then you can also deviate from that. And when
Mhm.
they finish the lesson, they've improved somehow. But then when you're creating the video, it's a bit different because
Yeah,
it's almost like you're presenting something without having that feedback from what
exactly.
you're talking about in real time.
Yeah, you don't get to see the results of the efforts that you've put in.
Yeah,
I think maybe that's what I miss. Like,
yeah,
I create all these videos and then it's like, but what's happening? What's the result of these videos?
yeah,
So yeah, I really miss that. And I just miss like talking. I mean, for you've probably been able to tell I love talking. I mean,
yeah.
I'm from Yorkshire. It's what we do. It's a national sport.
Yeah,
Um yeah, I just miss that interaction. I still interact with my course members, but it's
yeah,
not that same
yeah.
one-on-one
So have
student
you,
level.
do you remember, did you feel there was a difference, say, going from Yorkshire into London? Did you find that people enjoyed talking less or,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, definitely.
yeah,
Yeah. People in the South are just like so serious and
yeah,
so cold.
yeah.
Of course I'm speaking generally, it's not
Yes, yeah, please
everyone,
don't take offense, but
but
yeah.
Yeah,
Sometimes
yeah,
it is
yeah.
true.
To any southerners listening,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah, because some people they're like, no, but I'm very chatty. It's like, yeah,
yeah,
you're the one
yeah,
person out of
yeah,
every
yeah.
1,000
And it's
that's
interesting
chatty.
because you would think because, the weather is bad, but the weather is bad everywhere. And I've
Yeah.
found, in London, people don't really interact with each other as much.
Mm,
The more north you go, people are a lot more relaxed when they're having
yeah,
conversations.
yeah.
And it's not like that the fact that, yes, people can be busy in a busy city like London, but nothing is that important, I
Mm.
think.
Yeah, I still remember when I moved down to a very small town called Worthing. It's not too
Okay.
far from Brighton.
Yes.
And I'd moved from York to this small town, and I was waiting for a bus, and I just I wouldn't say I got talking to the person next to me, but I basically said something like, "Oh God, it's cold today," or
Yeah.
something like that.
Yeah.
And usually in the north, people would respond and they
Yeah.
would say, like, oh, yeah, it's really cold, isn't it? But
Yeah.
tomorrow is supposed to warm up. Like, there's
Yeah.
a bit of
Yeah.
conversation going and people would talk to you, especially old people.
Yes.
But this person, they literally looked at me up and down like I was just like insane.
Yeah.
And they weren't the only person that did that. Like,
Yeah.
there were so many other people who did the same. When I moved to Bristol, this is the interesting thing. So in
Mm.
Bristol, which is about 2 hours away from London, maybe three by bus.
Yeah.
Um, I found that talking to the people, like, so you could definitely tell who were the Londoners that
Yeah.
moved from London to Bristol,
Okay.
right? Because they just like wouldn't really talk to you. Again,
Yeah.
I'm generalizing,
Yeah.
like, don't
Yeah.
cancel us.
Okay.
But whenever I went to Bedminster, which is this part in the south, I live very close to Bedminster.
Yeah.
And I would go there for like my weekly Asda shop.
Yeah.
And I found that the people that were there, they were like proper Bristolians. They were
Right.
like Bristolian born and bred. And they were the chattiest people. Like they were the
Yeah.
nicest, the friendliest. Like you would just get chatting to them and
Yeah.
they were so nice.
Yeah.
But you could really tell the difference when it was someone who was from like who wasn't a Bristolian and
Yeah.
who was from
Yeah.
London, let's say.
I think part of it could be not wanting to offend. The other part could also be just they're not used to it. They haven't
Yeah,
had enough practice. And
yeah.
then you also kind of think, is there a use for this? Because London is so busy, a lot of things are transactional. So if you're
Yeah.
going into a shop, it's quite a transactional process, the tube, travel.
Hmm.
The only place it's not is maybe work. So in your work life place, it won't be like that because in a way you can't be because you're being
Mm.
watched by your manager and colleagues.
Yeah.
So, but then I think also because of things like the cost of living crisis, things are quite expensive. It's a bit gloomy
Hmm.
out there, but
Yeah.
sharing um, a conversation, having a chit chat, having a bit of banter, I think it's nice. It makes the day go by very quickly.
Mm.
So I think it's a nice thing. And being in Spain now, would you say that people are very friendly compared to even your hometown, or is it in a
So
different way?
it's a really good question. I live in Catalonia, and Catalonians
Yeah.
have this reputation for being cold,
Okay.
tight-fisted,
Okay.
like mean with money.
Right.
They have this sort of reputation. Yet I have always got on with them. Like
Yeah.
I think they're just a bit more reserved. They're not as like
Okay.
loud as people in the south. Yeah. And for sure, people from Spain listening who are from the south, they won't be offended by that
Yeah.
because it's what they're known for. They're proud of it. While in Catalonia, they're a bit quieter and more reserved. Like
Okay.
they don't start randomly like flamenco dancing and shouting and
Yeah.
singing and stuff in Catalonia. They just build a human castle
Yeah.
instead. Like it's a completely different culture.
Yeah.
But it it's so funny actually because the other day I was in the bank and I was paying a fine.
Right.
Okay.
Okay.
We'll leave people on a cliffhanger there about what
Okay.
kind of fine I was paying. And I could not get the machine to like scan the barcode so I could pay this fine.
Right.
And there was a guy sitting there, and I said, oh, excuse me, in Spanish, of course, like, oh, excuse me, can you help me? Do you know how to use this machine?
Yeah.
And he's trying to help me, and it's just not scanning. I was like, oh, so I'm not stupid, like it's actually not working, right? He's
Yeah.
like, no, no, it's not working. That's strange.
Yeah.
Another woman was behind me. She was waiting to use the machine.
Mm.
And I said, oh, really sorry, I'm taking up all this time here, but I can't scan this. Do you know how to do it? She's like, oh, I don't know how to use these things. And then all of a sudden, this other guy walks in, wanted to use the machine, and the guy that originally was helping me was like, "Oh man, can you help? Like, we can't scan it." So I had three people who didn't even work at the bank, three
Yeah.
people helping me out. And in the end, I was like, "Oh, it doesn't matter. I'll take a ticket and I'll wait 20 minutes and I'll go up to the counter, no problem." Took the ticket, and then well, at first it didn't, like the ticket machine didn't work.
Yeah.
Got that working. Everyone helped me with that.
Yeah.
Finally got there, paid
Yeah.
my fine, all good. When
Well
I got
done.
home, I
Yeah.
remember I said, like, the first thing I said to my boyfriend was, God, what a fiasco in the. He always finds it funny when I say fiasco because it's a Spanish word, right? So, oh, what a fiasco, it was in the bank today. I had everyone in that bank trying to help me out. So if
Yeah.
anyone ever says that Catalonians are not helpful and not friendly, it is
Yeah.
a lie because everyone was helping me out with that machine until we all gave up. So yeah, I think they're just different, honestly. Like compared to the south of Spain, but they're still really helpful and they're still really friendly and really nice.
Yeah. It
Yeah.
sounds like a Monty Python sketch.
It was. I started to think, have I been pranked? Like,
Yeah.
because just more people kept coming in and were like, can you help? And all the workers, like, we were trying to get some workers to help. And they're like, sorry, I'm with a client. And it's like, I literally have a queue of like three people behind me.
Yeah.
So I can't scan the barcode.
Yeah. It's
Oh, it was
interesting
such a
because
carry on.
like I think some people have a resting face, which is quite serious. So
Yeah, yeah,
you would think that
yeah,
they're quite serious and their demeanor is quite strict, but that's just
yeah.
like their resting face. So they may, yeah,
Exactly.
they may be quite,
Yeah.
quite happy and friendly,
Yeah.
but they
No,
just
I
look
found
quite
people
serious.
friendly. Yeah,
Yeah,
I think it's exactly that. Like, they're not going around smiling. They're just like, it's a normal sort of resting
yeah,
face, but people are very friendly.
yeah, conserving their energy. Um,
Yeah, that's a
yeah,
good way to think
yeah.
about it. Yeah.
I also find that like a lot of older adults when they're learning English, they can be hard on themselves a lot of the time because if you're learning English when you're younger, it's a lot
Hmm.
easier to make mistakes.
Yeah.
You understand it's part and parcel of doing anything. So you welcome that you make mistakes. It's not such a big deal. But as an adult, you can be too serious about it
Mm-hmm.
sometimes. And I think there's
Yeah.
almost like, yes, you're learning something, you're learning the techniques of pronunciation, vocabulary, grammar, but you're also working on your self-confidence. Because
Hmm.
I've had so many students who their level of English is really good, it's fantastic, but they lack the confidence just to build on that fluency, to start talking, connecting ideas together, making mistakes,
Yeah.
making a few mistakes and then just running with it. And it's so wonderful when you
Yeah.
actually see them have the light bulb moments when they connect things together, the
Yeah.
vocabulary and everything. And yeah, it's wonderful. Have you had that experience when you've had older learners of English? How have you found that?
Yeah, I definitely feel that some people, like the older they get, especially if they're in like very high level positions in their jobs,
Yeah,
they find that they find learning a second language puts them in a more vulnerable state compared to
yeah,
what they're used to.
yeah,
So like if they're a very like high level CEO in a company and they're used to being respected and then all of a sudden they come to my classes and I'm saying no, don't say comfortable, say comfortable, and then like,
yeah,
oh, someone's telling me what to do. I mean,
yeah,
it's different for them. It's uncomfortable because now
Yeah.
they're in like a more vulnerable position. Maybe they don't know how to communicate certain things, so that's making them feel a bit more uncomfortable. They're not familiar with that, and then that can make them feel a bit self-conscious.
Yeah.
I've definitely found that with people who are in higher level jobs, bosses or doctors or lawyers and things like that, where their reputation really matters.
Yes.
And then suddenly they're the student who's saying, I don't know, accidentally swearing and stuff like that because their pronunciation, like they've confused some vowels or something. It puts them in a very vulnerable, uncomfortable position.
Mm.
So yeah, I don't know if you find the same as well, but I do find teaching is 50% teaching and 50% psychology. Like
Yes. Yeah.
50% of the time we're actually showing the rules and the grammar and teaching and correcting and
Yeah.
interacting in a teacherly way, let's say. And then the
Mm.
other 50% is bigging up our students to
Yeah.
feel more confident and
Definitely. Definitely. I think it's with any
uh
skill when you're learning something and to understand
definitely.
that it's not a linear path.
Yeah.
We can translate that to YouTube, for example. It's not like a linear path. You'll have
Hmm.
dips along the way, and you will think that something's not working. But I think the wonderful thing about our brains is just the ability just to absorb information. So in the
Hmm.
background, it's processing all that information. And so over time, those connections are starting to get stronger and stronger. And
Yeah.
eventually, with enough practice, you can reach where you want to be. You can achieve your goal. So I think that's
Hmm.
really important. The psychological aspect is really important. Having your confidence, just reaffirming with yourself, like having
Hmm.
positive affirmations, telling yourself, yes, I can do this. Yes, I will improve. Yes, I will grow, and thinking about where it will take you, because sometimes you can get lost, I think, in the grammar, for example, which is a big
Hmm.
topic for students, and just focusing so much on the grammar. And when you get into a natural conversation, you will just see a lot of the grammar rules just go out of the window.
Yeah.
And just thinking, what? I spent so many years learning this in the classroom, and people aren't
Hmm.
even using it. So I think being exposed to many different types of conversations and yeah, being positive and just remembering, being kind to yourself as well, understanding that it takes time to learn a new skill. And it's
Hmm.
wonderful that people have access to so many things. Like for myself, I've used YouTube to fix my washing machine before, to fix my laptop, so many different things. And now people can
Yeah.
use YouTube to help them to improve their language, their pronunciation. So I think it's fantastic.
Hmm. Yeah,
Yeah.
we live in a very fortunate time where
Yeah,
information has never been so accessible. Free information has never been so accessible. Yeah.
definitely. And you can watch cat videos as well.
That's what the internet was made for.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I think originally YouTube was a dating site originally.
Really?
Yeah, if I'm not
I
mistaken,
wouldn't be surprised.
people can correct me on that, and then progressed
Yeah.
into cat videos. But yeah, I just think the progression has just been amazing. I think
Yeah.
on one hand, it can maybe affect your attention span, but I think creating long videos and consuming long videos, I think it can improve your attention span.
For sure.
Yeah,
Actually, I'm trying to retrain my attention span.
yeah,
It's something I want to talk about with my students
yeah.
is how to retrain your attention span because the fact that people can't watch more than 3 seconds of a video
Yes.
is insane. That's
Yeah.
so
And
sad. And
yeah,
I mean, I'm guilty as well.
yeah,
Everyone's guilty. You're scrolling, you see a video, you're like, oh, keep going. Let me get that next dopamine hit, you know?
yeah,
Um, but it shouldn't be like that.
yeah.
So,
I feel sorry for the kids, like for example, that are growing up
yeah.
today. They're being brought up with the internet and things
Hmm.
like short form content. It's just a way of life. But my daughter is quite clever. She gets around that by finding recipes. So she found yeah, she found this fantastic recipe for making a cake in the microwave. So because I was telling her, don't stop watching short. No, stop. I'm not gonna say shorts, but
Yeah.
stop watching short form content. So she was like, no, look, I found this cool recipe. So we tried the recipe, and it was one of the best cakes I've had in my life.
Oh,
And
really?
yeah,
Okay, a
it
microwave
it
one.
was it was like an Oreo cake where you buy the Oreos, so the biscuits, and
Hmm.
you smash them up, put them into a little Ziploc bag, smash them up.
Hmm.
You add that to a tray, a bit of flour, I think that was it, and an egg maybe, and chuck it in the microwave. And there was another one which was a Biscoff cake as well,
Mm.
which is
I love
it's like
Biscoff.
yeah, there's Biscoff in a mug, and yeah, it's fantastic. Yeah, so you can find cool things like this.
You
Um,
can learn on social media.
yeah, definitely.
Yeah, that's nice. Yeah, good for her. I'm glad the cake worked out well. Because I've
Yeah,
tried these like microwave mug. What is
yes,
it? Not microwave, but microwave mug cake. That's what they
yeah.
call the a
Okay,
mug cake recipe. Oh, and it's turned out horrible. So I might need the recipe for the Oreo one.
okay. Yeah, I'll send that to you. It's dangerously good. So I've stayed away from that. So how's the rest of your day looking today?
Well, I have some calls this afternoon. It sounds very cryptic when we saying
Yeah,
some calls, but basically some business calls, like coaching ones,
yeah,
to hopefully grow the business and everything.
good.
And then, yeah, I guess me and Frey will go off for a walk to, I don't know, walk in a park or something like that. And then it will be back
Perfect,
to work. So I find that
perfect.
like in the afternoons I can't work, but in the mornings, in
Yeah,
evenings, like
okay,
I could definitely work a lot better in mornings and evenings.
perfect. I think it will be. I think I've reached my limit of Lemzip today.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. But yeah.
You
Well,
don't want to overdose on that stuff.
exactly, exactly. Well, thank you for spending your time with me today. I really appreciate it. I'm really appreciative. I hope our listeners have found this informative and fun, and it's been lovely.
Oh, thank you very much for inviting me on. Thank you everyone for listening and listening
Thank you.
this far.
Thank you so much. And everyone, take care, and I will see you soon. Thank you. Bye bye.